Man, I love to pray. It's such a powerful experience for me. It's something I've been doing for, um, you know, over 20 years now, I guess pushing 30 years. And it's just a real natural part of who I am. But to be honest with you, is like, prayer is something that people struggle with, to be consistent and faithful in prayer and communicating with the Lord. And why is that? Um, it's because it's work. Like it is work, and people will tend to work more on actual labor, even in the kingdom, or about things that are going on in our lives. Will work to advance our careers will work to advance our children's ability to exceed in something. And these are good things. I'm not excusing work by any means, but we will work more than we would spend time praying about something, because that's actually easier to do than praying. Like, praying is harder work than the actual work of what is necessary to achieve a dream, or a passion, or something that the Lord has put in us that we're seeking after. And so it's work because there's a force coming against us that doesn't want to see us involved in prayer. Um, it's work because it takes faith. It takes faith to believe that God is listening and hearing and actually going to move in the midst of what we're talking to him about. And it's work because it really is the single most powerful thing. Like, we read the word, and then we pray. We're talking to God about change in ourselves, and sometimes change about external things as well. People we're praying for, we want to see movement. And so it's work, and the apostles struggled with that. And they came to Jesus, like, at one point in time, and I think it's Luke 18, that Jesus teaches them a parable about how they should pray and never give up. And I love parables. Parables are awesome because, like, we just kind of hang things on them and go, man, like, I can track with that. And so Jesus says, hey, there was this judge in a town one time. He was an unjust judge, and there was a widow that lived in the town that he was a judge in. And the widow had an adversary, and she wasn't getting justice in this particular situation. But the judge that Jesus talks about in this story, he says, man, he didn't fear God, he didn't fear man. Like, he didn't have any, like, it didn't bother him what people thought of him. It didn't bother him what God may have thought of him. And so this widow was going to this judge to try to get some justice, for him to execute justice in this particular situation she was facing. And so she kept going to him, and she kept going to him, and the judge wouldn't give her any justice. But she kept going, and she kept going, and she kept going. And finally the judge got sick of it, and he said, man, like, even though I don't fear God and I don't fear man, like, I'm tired of this lady bothering me, so I'm going to give her the justice that she's after, and so she'll quit coming to me. She'll quit pestering me about this. And so he says this after the story. He says, listen to what the unjust judge says. And will not God bring about justice for his chosen ones who cry out to him day and night? Will he keep putting them off? I tell you, he will see that they get justice, and quickly. However, when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on earth? I was like, whoa. Now think about that. Jesus is saying, when I return, like, I came to the planet, I died on the cross to set people free from their sin, to make prayer even possible in this capacity. I rose from the dead. I interacted with the early disciples for a period of 40 days. I told them that I was coming back. Like that's what Jesus did. He said he was coming back. And at this point, prior to the crucifixion, he's saying, when I return, will I find faith on earth? And what does he link it to? Prayer. Like just let that sit with you just for a moment. When Jesus comes, he's saying, will he find faith on earth? And it's all linked to a parable that he just talked to us about prayer. What is one of the things that's difficult for us to do? is pray. Why? Because it requires faith that we're going to listen to the Lord, that we're going to die to ourselves, seek His will, and allow Him to speak to us. And so if the Lord were to return today, like if He were to return to the earth today, would He find faith in your life? He will mine, and He can yours.